Hey, Centerpoint friends. My name is Mike Toll. I'm one of the ministers on staff here at Centerpoint Christian Church. I'm excited to be sitting down at the table with my new friend, Bob Perry. Bob is a longtime Centerpoint member, but he also comes with someone with a background in apologetics. And we wanted to capture some of that knowledge and wisdom on video. For those of you who are out there, Bob usually calls this his confidence course, which is really just about how we can have more confidence in the faith that we've already have in Jesus. But this is about evidence for our faith and the reasons we can have faith. I wanted to talk a little bit about you a little bit, if it's okay. I know you're going to be humble about it, but at the same time, Bob comes as a graduate of the Naval Academy in aerospace engineering. He's a pilot right now, but he also, amidst his own questions of faith, pursued a degree, a master's degree in apologetics. Yeah. And that was born out of a desire to kind of learn more about the defense of the faith. And now, of course, he's married to the wonderful and beautiful Mary Perry.
Mary.
Yeah, and that's got a nice ring to it. Yeah. I'm sure she's heard that a time or two. But also as father to his sons, Rob, Steve, Kurt, David, and John. And so, Bob, we're just really appreciative for the time that you've carved out for us to learn a little bit more about our faith. But why don't you tell us a little bit about what you have in store as we talk about the case for our faith?
Okay, yeah, as you said, this is born out of my own questions. I was challenged when I was 32 years old about what I believed. I've talked about that many times. And that forced me to kind of say, do I really believe this stuff?
Right.
And from that, I have done a lot of reading, studying the degree in apologetics, obviously, to try to see, is the Christian worldview for real?
Yeah.
I mean, the definition of truth is, does what you believe correspond to the way the world actually is? That's
right.
The definition of truth. So is Christianity true? Does it match the world we find ourselves in? And I think I like to look at the Christian worldview as kind of from the big picture point of view. Maybe that comes from sitting up in the cockpit looking down on the world all the time.
Yeah, right. You're used to that view.
Right. I think we have I don't need to be a scientist. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be a theologian. I don't need to be a philosopher. But I need to be kind of familiar with these things to see if what I'm claiming to believe is true. Yeah. And I think that's part of the way I try to look at it, is the big picture point of view. If you think of the Christian worldview as like a puzzle, there are different puzzle pieces that have to fit together.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have worldviews where they have pieces from the wrong puzzle in their box.
Yeah.
Or they don't have the big picture of what the puzzle's supposed to look like at the end.
Yep.
So how do we fit all these things together? How does science and philosophy and ethics, theology, does all that stuff fit together?
Yeah.
What's the big picture? Because we live in a culture that isn't just neutral to our faith anymore. Mm-hmm. Actually, the Christian worldview used to be the basis for our culture.
Yeah.
And that's not only been eroded, but now people are attacking.
Oh, yeah. We are living more and more in the marginalized, and as Peter tells us that we are the aliens and strangers. If you doubt that, just walk into your workplace and try to talk about your faith. Of any of the worldviews, Christianity is probably the most scrutinized of those worldviews. And we live in a big world now that has gotten smaller to where we're aware of different worldviews. And I think it's great, to talk about that Christian worldview, because many of us grew up like me in the church and sometimes just assumed this worldview was the right one.
Right.
But as the world gets smaller and we're connected with so many different places and cultures, we learn other worldviews and how different people see things differently. So
right.
Yeah.
And it's having an effect on the church. I mean,
for sure.
I just read a poll this past week that one organization thinks it's between 75 and 88% of our kids within 5 years of leaving home walk away from the faith.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you're a parent, your kids are going to get the Christian worldview from you.
Yeah.
If you let them get it from the culture, it's going to be ugly, especially when they go off to college. The majority of college professors are agnostic or atheist, and they will undermine the Christian worldview. So we have to be able to see the big picture and put it all together. And it's been Christianity over the last 100 years or so has kind of come to the idea that we don't need to defend our faith. We just, I believe God, the Bible says it, I believe it, that settles it.
Right.
But that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah,
when your kids go off to college, that's not, they're going to be asking questions and they want to know answers. In fact, that's the number one issue that kids who walk away from the faith have, is that they have been asking questions that no one gives them an answer to.
Right.
So we have to be able to do that these days.
Yeah, it has to be the most reasonable worldview.
Right.
And Scripture teaches us to test it, test this worldview, if you will. And so I'm looking forward to hearing, as we go through a series of these videos, more and more evidence to support the faith that a lot of our friends at Centerpoint already have.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what this confidence course is about. It's to give each of us confidence in our faith. That helps us live it out better. It helps us be able to talk to other people about it more easily. So that's the idea behind it.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
So when the church says, we don't need apologetics, we can just live by faith. I just have faith.
Yeah.
Is that really what the Bible teaches? Over it's a long history of philosophy that we've kind of separated our faith from the real world.
Right.
Like our faith is just a private thing. That's just up for us to decide for ourselves. Science, as Sean talked about a couple weeks ago, the world tells us that science is where all the real answers are. Yeah. Is that true? Is that what the Bible teaches? And I always like to go back to Deuteronomy. When the law was given, the Shema, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. You probably
Close
know
enough.
better than me.
I just go like this when I said it. Yeah.
Was the prayer that they said twice a day. It was the first prayer that a little Jewish kid would learn when they were being taught. Is hear, O Israel, hear that the Lord your God is one. You should love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and strength. Yeah. That's what it says in Deuteronomy. Well, in Mark, Jesus repeats the Shema, and he says that we should love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength.
Yeah.
So do you know why Jesus changed that? Why he... Me either. I was just wondering if you knew.
Well, obviously, you can speculate, but obviously it has to do with the intellect and the reason behind the faith. It's not only it's not only the most beautiful story. It's the most reasonable worldview.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm excited about talking more about this.
Yeah. It seems, I think it's very impactful that Jesus took a saying that the Jews had been using for 4,000 years and changed it. Yeah. Maybe that, I don't know if that's significant.
Well, when you're God, you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just keep quoting Jesus. But.
So the life of the mind is a big part of what it means to be a Christian.
Absolutely.
In Romans 12, he talks about be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Yep. We're supposed to, Jude, it says contend for the faith.
Yes.
2 Corinthians 10, it says, Paul says that we should always, I don't want to get the words wrong, that we should demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. So demolishing arguments, that sounds pretty thoughtful to me. You have to be able to think through what's going on. So I think Christianity is a thinking religion. I think it's always been a thinking religion. This idea that we can just separate our faith and go by feelings and experience, that's all part of it, but that's not all of it.
Right.
So, and the fact that we've lost this kind of intellectual part of our faith is why we're struggling. The Christianity is in decline. Some people are calling us a post-Christian culture, and I think that's a big reason why.
Yeah, and I think that, and honestly, it's the huge motive behind doing these videos, so that our friends and family at Centerpoint are equipped with more reasons for their faith, not just, hey, I feel this, or this is the way I was taught. No, it's important for us to intellectually embrace and wrap our minds and hearts and arms around the reasons we can have hope.
Right.
Yeah. So that's great.
So I'm looking forward to that. I think this will be a good learning experience for me.
Yeah.
Hopefully for other people, that they can see that they don't have to be shy. And that's one of the reasons I call it the confidence course, is that you don't have to be shy about asking questions.
Right.
If Christianity is true, you will get an answer.
Yeah.
And I believe it is. So I'm not afraid of any question from any discipline, science, philosophy, whatever it is. Christianity will have the answer.
Yeah.
I think that's an important thing.
And we'll have some emails and links to ask us more questions along the way. If we're going to do a series of these videos, which I'm excited about doing. If we don't hit on something that you'd like us to hit on, we'd love to hear from you. Email us, let us know that. But if you want more resources to hear from Bob, you have a website, right?
Yeah.
TrueHorizons.org.
TrueHorizon.org.
Horizon, no S.
Right.
And feel free to log on there to tap into any more of his posts and resources and references that he has available. Anything else before we close this chapter out?
No, I think that'll do it.
Okay, great. Well, Centerpoint family, we are excited about kicking off this series of videos. Keep following this page and checking us out, as we'll keep posting videos as we do them. But we hope you're enjoying them. And again, reach out to us with any questions you might have. Hope you have a great day.